meteorologists are at a loss to explain what is causing this weather and why it has taken them by surprise.
That sudden drop in temperature has half an hour ago. Mexican officials closed the border in the light of so many U.S. refugees.
We prepare to go live to Los Angeles.
Are you getting into the cameras? What you see is happening now.
Look over there behind me! That's a tornado! Yes, a twister!
This is just massive.
Well, it definitely is going to complicate things. They actually have evacuated the slopes of the volcano.
Hurricane Guillermo continuing to gather strength here. Now 105-mile-per-hour hurricane continues to move on towards the west at 14 miles per hour. So we actually put the timeline on this.
Mierda es eso.
These pictures coming out of Myanmar, they've had several feet of rain, and this is all from tropical cyclone Kumin that has been churning in the North Indian Ocean.
Workers at Fukushima Daiichi have taken another step toward decommissioning the nuclear plant. They've resumed efforts to dismantle a protective cover from a reactor that was damaged in the 2011 accident. The workers used a remote-controlled crane to remove one of the ceiling panels over the number 1 reactor. They put the cover there to stop radioactive materials escaping into the atmosphere. Now they need to take it off so they can clear debris and remove spent nuclear fuel. Officials with plant operator TEPCO say it will take several months. They expect to complete the job by next winter. The workers were meant to start the process in July last year, but TEPCO officials put it off after residents expressed concern that radioactive materials could spread through the air. They postponed the operation again in May after discovering a problem in the building. Workers sprayed chemical agents on the debris to prevent radioactive particles from getting out. They say they'll keep a closer watch on radiation levels and keep the public informed every step of the way.
Now, this is truly some dangerous flooding and life-threatening flooding. We've already seen reported deaths with these pictures coming out of Myanmar. They've had several feet of rain, and this is all from tropical cyclone Kumin that has been churning in the North Indian Ocean. There's a look at it now. This monster of a storm has been dropping massive amounts of rain, and you can see the highest rains are along the coast. It's not over yet. They've already received, this is an 8-day total of about 2 to even some cases 3 feet of rain, and more is on the way. 27 deaths have already been reported due to flash flooding, and even more from landslides.
Oh my gosh, Toby. Oh geez.
Getting now an incredible new view from some of the regions that are dealing with historic drought.
NASA scientist Dr. Doug Morton joins us live from Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, with images this morning. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. The spring and summer, Texas and Southern California, we've had, the drought and then the heavy rain. What images are you seeing and what are they telling us?
Well, NASA launched our most advanced rainfall monitoring mission last year, the Global Precipitation Measurement Mission, and we now have this unprecedented look at 2015, where the East Coast and the Midwest saw those punishing extreme rain events where some areas got more than 6 feet of rain since the start of this year. And California, as you'll notice from this graphic showing the total rainfall since January, has seen very little rainfall. That extends their multi-year drought and puts them now a year in the hole in terms of average rainfall.
So, Dr. Morton, what are these images telling you about the wildfire season this year?
Well, that below average rainfall and below average snowpack across California has really set the stage for a severe wildfire season. So, changing the surface humidity, but obviously also changing the rainfall patterns this year in California has left that entire region in a deficit. So this image shows in colors of red areas where NASA's GRACE satellites actually see less water. Water is quite heavy, and so NASA's GRACE satellites are actually sensing that change in Earth's gravity as surface water and groundwater gets depleted in California and other parts around the world. Right now, California is in such a deficit that those GRACE images from April suggest you'd need to fill the entire state knee-deep to make up for the water that's been lost since 2003.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, let's talk about El Nino and the images you've seen and the impacts it'll have on the lower 48, because that means some rain for more areas. If my memory is correct, in the summertime they get more rain in the northwest with El Nino, or correct me?
So El Nino changes rainfall distributions around the globe, and some of those are more predictable than others. As that warm water from the Central Pacific, here in colors of red, shifts over towards South America in this classic El Nino, we see that the storm tracks are likely to get shifted north.
Okay, so would we be? So that means a little more rain for the west. Now, what about extreme weather? What is this telling you globally about extreme weather across the globe?
So NASA scientists like myself take our satellite data and we help feed that into our computer models that allow us to make a forecast and a prediction of droughts to come. As we look out on the latest generation of climate models towards 2100, we can see how the projected changes here in the summertime drought conditions in shades of red shift more towards more frequent and more intense droughts.
Wave of rushing water just north of Albuquerque along I-25. There's major flooding near the San Felipe Pueblo down south to Algodones. Sky News 13 gives us a close-up look. This area got around 1.5 inches of rain this afternoon, and it's run out of places to go because the ground is so saturated. Water washed out a railroad bridge just north of Algodones. The water even roared down the median of I-25. The area was under a flood warning.
This is right out of Arizona this morning.
Whoa.
Monsoon season.
Yikes.
Yep. And then we've got the dust that gets kicked up.
And then, you know, what's amazing with that, when you have the wind and you have all those issues, you have very poor visibility. I mean, check out what drivers in Maricopa had to contend with yesterday. This area got hit with the heavy rain, the high winds. Storms also caused flight delays at Sky Harbor Airport. Traffic tie-ups in Phoenix, all but a guarantee.
It chokes up your engine of your vehicle. It
yes.
chokes you up. It coats everything. It creates a mess when we have these dust storms.
A deadly landslide has killed at least 20 people in India's northeastern state of Manipur. The victims lost their lives following heavy monsoon rains in a village. Authorities have dispatched rescue teams to the partly submerged village to try to move survivors to relief camps.
areas that has seen some heavy downpour is near Lato High School on Sly Avenue in Hillsborough County. People there actually getting out canoes to navigate through a flooded canal. ABC Action News reporter Kara Masha continues our team coverage. Good evening, Kara.
Well, the great news is, of course, now the rain has stopped, at least in this part of town, the last half hour or so, and the water has gone down significantly. When we first got here a couple hours ago, this road closed sign was actually tipped over because it had gotten so heavy with the water coming up deep on top of it that it just toppled. But the street here is now somewhat passable. Earlier, you could go cleared out into the middle of this road, and it was easily waist deep. Now that's more like about knee deep, so still not great, but certainly a lot better than it was. Water did quickly pile up on these area roads across from the high school this afternoon with those heavy rounds of downpours along Hesperity, Lambright, and Knollwood, just to name a few. Again, waist deep at times, but that has dropped quite a bit over the last half hour. One woman was taking her 8-year-old daughter to singing lessons when that flash flooding started. It rose so fast that she got stuck trying to drive through it and had to wait almost 4 hours for a tow truck to get here and pull her car out. A woman living just across the street from where that happened now has water and sewage backing up into her house.
Oh, I was crying. My daughter, trying to keep calm for my daughter, but she was terrified. I had to hold her up because we didn't know what was below.
I have water, coming up inside my tub. This isn't good. I mean, the water seems to have gone down a little bit. When I was moving the cars around, I was up to my knees in it. So it's kind of scary.
Now, the county has been out here trying to pump out some of the water, but it's been kind of a losing battle until just recently because that drainage canal along these streets just getting completely overwhelmed with water. Certainly now, hopefully, getting a little bit of the break in the action so that these streets can have a little bit more time to drain off before these next rounds of rain move in. Reporting live in Tampa, Kara Mashik for ABC Action News.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, we're in half a foot of water, and we are walking with these folks. They just pulled out these 3 elderly people in an elderly home. They were the last 3 to remain. They are all in wheelchairs, and excuse me if I sound short of breath hiking through this water. Definitely isn't easy. They are okay. They couldn't get out. They're all in wheelchairs. This is the next group to be taken out by boat. There were 2 others earlier, and these are the third. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office really doing a great job going up and down this flooded street. We're on Clifton Road here in Town and Country, and really, it has just been a mess. This is the first time we've seen people that really, really needed the help need to get pulled out. I believe they commandeered this boat from a yard just down the road from where we are, and they are really working hard. About 45 minutes ago, they pulled out 2, and I'm going to try to jump up ahead of them just to get a better shot. But obviously, very terrified. People very concerned about what's happening. We were told that people have lived in this neighborhood for almost 40 years, and they've never seen flooding like this. Homes all up and down this area have at least a foot of water, if not more, inside. And sorry if my hand's shaking. Try to get that a little closer. But you can see this road, it's flooded. I'm going to spin around real quick because you've seen a lot of them get exactly where they came from. This is a long hike, and they are really trying to go house to house to get as many people as possible. My photographer here, you can see how deep the water is for him. Luckily, we are getting close to the road where they're going to take these folks to safety because they definitely need it. You can tell they're scared. You can tell that they were extremely worried.
There is a volcano erupting on that island where you are standing. So might that at all impact the investigation?
Well, it definitely is going to complicate things. They actually have evacuated the slopes of the volcano. It is erupting as we speak. And given what we know, given that if this is MH370, that's going to change what we know or what people believe they knew about where that search area should be. It's going to move it towards Reunion and beyond. And if you can imagine trying to carry out even the localized search that they've been having here on that San André beach stretch, imagine now having that scale of a search on Reunion to Madagascar, along to that southeastern coast of Africa, with an erupting volcano in one of your bases. It's not helping what is already a very difficult situation here, Brooke.
Is Hurricane Guillermo continuing to gather strength here. Now 105-mile-per-hour hurricane continues to move on towards the west at 14 miles per hour. So we actually put the timeline on this. This will actually continue to push towards Hawaii. Right now a Category 2 hurricane, and it's probably going to be at its strongest sometime today. Then it slowly starts to weaken as it approaches the Hawaiian Islands and should be below hurricane strength as it makes its closest approach sometime perhaps Wednesday or Thursday towards the Big Island. And typically approaching from the southeast, we do not usually see hurricanes stay intact as they approach the String of Pearls.
At 23 major fires that are burning as we speak. And that's prompted the governor to declare a state of emergency this morning. That declaration allows the National Guard to step in here and bring with them 9 helicopters. And those choppers are being used to push back those flames, obviously.
Sadly, one of the fires has claimed its first victim, 38-year-old David Rule of South Dakota. Rule had been with the Forest Service for 14 years, and Capitol flags in the state will be flown at half-staff in his honor.
One of the largest fires burning right now, the one you're seeing here, the Rocky Fire, it's 18,000 acres burned already and just 5% contained.
Let's bring in now Dominic Polito. He's the public information officer for that area where the Rocky Fire is happening, the information center that runs response. Dominic, give us the latest on conditions and where this fire is headed.
Sure. As you guys said, we're up to 18,000 acres right now. The fire is burning in treacherous conditions as far as the terrain goes. We have a lot of steep, inaccessible terrain, which causes the fire to make great heated runs up the aspects of the hill and continue on. Luckily, as of now, the Mother Nature has given us a cool offshore wind that has brought in some humidity and has bedded the fire down a little bit for this evening. Yesterday was making a run towards many of the towns in the area to the west, but with the cool air in the night, it is going to the east now, and we're hoping that it stays going that way for a little while.
All right, Dominic, I know that without rain, humidity is at least something you can hope for. I understand that, you know, in these cases, fighting from the sky with the helicopters that drop retardant and water in many cases over the fire helps, but any ability to fight this from the ground? I mean, what are the resources available in tamping this one down?
Yeah, we have a lot of resources on the fire, about 1,300 personnel, and the priority for our resources is really the people and the residents. So we're allocating a lot of those resources around structure protection, which is what you guys see from the air, where the firefighters are surrounding each home and defending the homes as the fire passes.
Any numbers?
We are using. Sorry?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish that thought.
No, I was going to say, and then the other resources we use to create containment lines, which is where you see the bulldozers and the hand crews scraping soil so that the fire is stopped at the lines.
Any numbers of structures that are threatened, homes, businesses, and can you quantify the number of people who have been displaced?
I can tell you that about 6,100 structures are threatened right now. And unfortunately, we have had 28 structures destroyed and 2 damaged. I am unsure of the amount of people displaced.
Tony, we do have active warnings, not just the watch, but an active severe thunderstorm warning for Fond du Lac and Sheboygan counties until 6 o'clock this evening. A violent line of thunderstorms. If we can take our weather camera in Sheboygan first, if we can show that, that is a nasty thunderstorm moving in. You can see the shelf cloud. On the edge of those clouds will come a very strong gust of wind. You know, as we're live, I'm going to pan this off to the right as, again, one of our cameras showing this severe thunderstorm as it is moving into Sheboygan as we speak. So this storm, again, is going to be packing some very strong winds.
The United Nations has warned of increasing death toll from flash floods in Myanmar. Heavy floods triggered by monsoon rains have left at least 27 people dead in the country. Rescue teams are yet to reach many of the affected regions. 4 western regions have been declared as disaster zones.
Tomorrow, President Barack Obama will unveil a set of new and strict environmental regulations to combat climate change. The president made his case in a video posted on Facebook last night. Some of the new requirements are existing power plants to cut their emission 32% from their 2005 levels by the year 2030. They would also have to use more solar and wind power. Plus, each state will be assigned a target for reducing carbon pollution from power plants. The rules are expected to be met with strong opposition and some legal challenges as well. Joining me right now from Austin, Texas is CNN presidential historian Douglas Brinkley, and from Washington is CNN political commentator Van Jones. Good to see both of you.
Good morning.
We invited the two of you because we know this has been high on the priority list for the president, saying he wanted to make an impact as it pertains to the environment. So, Douglas, you know, the president's proposal is some of the strictest regulations that we have seen. How does this tie into his legacy, whether, I guess, it's a success or not?
Well, it ties in greatly. The Clean Power Plan is something the president believes deeply in. If you go back and read his State of the Union addresses, you hear him talk about climate change. You look at what he's been going after, looking to do more wind and solar since the very beginning, but he's been frustrated. Congress wouldn't do anything, so the president's now adopted a plan to work with the EPA. He has a precedent that took place in Massachusetts, EPA versus the state of Massachusetts, which says it's legal to do this. So I think tomorrow is deeply significant. This is going to be a major legacy piece for the president, that he didn't just educate the public about the climate change, but he took a major leadership role forward. Environmentalists are cheering today and will be cheering tomorrow. You're going to have a lot of lawsuits following.
Talk about a heck of a shelf cloud. Look at this. There were tons of pictures of this floating around on social media on Sunday. This video out of Michigan. This was a big squall line that moved through the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Just a big wall of rain out behind it. It's pretty to look at from the front, but that's what it looks like when you're inside it. Look at that. Just sideways rain and hail. Lots of reports of big hailstones and also, you know, trees, power lines down. Several thousand people still woke up without power in Wisconsin and Michigan on Monday morning. It wasn't just wind and hail, though. We actually even had a few tornadoes on Sunday evening. I mean, look at this. This is from Iowa. You want to talk about a photogenic tornado? Look at that, just condensation funnel, huge contrast there, really high off the ground. That's a drill bit tornado there. But the severe threat's going to shift toward the east a little bit for Monday, parts of the Appalachians, Ohio Valley, and into the Northeast.
The rain is by no means over, and in fact, when it comes to the rivers like the Anclote River, they are not done cresting. The level continues to rise at most of the major rivers around here, including the Hillsborough River, the Manatee River, the Alafaya River, and the Anclote River.
Randy, it looks like that guy right there may be trying to catch a fish.
I
He's
see
trying
him,
to catch
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Okay.
He's catching
well,
fish. This is at Hillsborough and Sawyer. And look at there, that guy just caught a fish on the road. He's running back, probably trying to tell all his friends, look what I just, look at there, guy's taking a picture of him.
Do you need a license to catch a fish that way? I don't know. We'll have to look into that. I don't know about the legalities, but I think he just gets a kick out of catching a fish. Hopefully he'll
wash his hands.
Oh,
Let it go. Yeah, wash it.